Josh Kroenke did an interview with Yahoo. Mark Spears, who's been on the program here, used to work for the Denver Post. There are a lot of great guys around the country who used to be beat writers for the Denver Post, and he's one of them. And he asked Josh Kroenke about the Ty Lawson situation, and some believe Kroenke went too far.
Yeah.
He said a lot of negative things about Ty, and that they knew what was going on for a long time, and that they were trying their best to help him. Were his remarks appropriate, fair, given that Ty Lawson's gone?
Well, he's being criticized for throwing Ty Lawson under the bus, so to speak, as Ty was leaving. There are people around sports who believe that Josh should not have said. Let me read you some of the things he said. Josh Kroenke on Ty Lawson. He always had an affinity for burning the candle at both ends. We want to give our players freedom to be young guys as well. We're not going to be drill sergeants, but we want our guys to be able to handle their personal lives on their own. There were times when he was better than others, but the problems have been there for several years, going back to when we were even having a lot of on-court success. There weren't a lot of teams interested in Ty. Houston was in a position where this could put them over the top. We were fully aware of that. We couldn't look at this deal from any perspective but our own. In the long run, I hope the trade is a good thing for Ty, the person. There are no guarantees. Sometimes you just need to hear the message from a different person. I have no problem. In fact, if Josh Kroenke had gone a little further, that wouldn't have bothered me one bit. You know why? Ty Lawson was an immature young punk who was being paid tens of millions of dollars by the Denver Nuggets. And if the Nuggets are angry with him and the Nuggets want to say a few not so nice things about Ty Lawson as he walks out the door, I don't blame him. And I might have done the exact same thing. Ty Lawson stole money from the Nuggets. Ty Lawson didn't give them his best effort. Ty Lawson was a lousy presence in that locker room and many times on the court. I don't think Josh Kroenke went far enough. Now, I know you take the risk of pissing off a lot of players around the league. And players might look at you after that and say, who wants to play for that guy? But I think if Josh Kroenke said it the right way and let those other players around the league know that when you play for this team and we pay you a lot of money, we expect you to take on some responsibility, to act like a professional, I think it would have played just fine.
And that's even more of less. Wow, that's about as strong as I've heard you on this program in regard to a subject. Here's the issue I have with it. And I would say I'm in your camp.
To a point.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you two things. He's gone.
So just move on.
Why did you give him all that money? The extension was last year. If what he is saying is true, that they've known about it for several years, why give him the extension?
Great point.
Why don't you, before it becomes all a public matter, that his DUIs were in his distant past, the one that he's acknowledged in Missouri and the one that happened when he was in school in North Carolina. And we can kind of dismiss, to a point, the one in North Carolina because that was an immature kid drinking and getting in the car.
6-7 years ago.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. So,
well, let me address that very quickly. And I've said this before on this show. I think they were just hoping and praying that he would mature. They talked to him constantly, trying to help him work through this stuff.
So you thought that giving him a multi-year, $13 million a year contract was going to help him mature?
It's not easy to give up on good talent like that, but I agree with you. I think they made two major mistakes here. A, giving that kind of money, especially guaranteed money, to a guy with that many problems, knowing he had those problems. And number two, they should have traded him earlier.
I agree with all that. Now I'm going to give you more of my response. What you left out of there was that he made reference to when Ty would show up at practice,
smelling the alcohol on his breath.
Smell the breath.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that might have led to him not coming back, after the All-Star game, that he didn't want to show up, that he was hungover and he didn't want to go to practice. It's just a guess. So that was another very defaming statement when they were indicating that he was showing up to practice. And that might have to do with something of, we don't want those shoot-arounds in game time.
Yeah, moving him to later in the day.
But here's the other thing. He's gone. You're saying players around the league are not going to say, what if you are a player here and you have some personal issues? That you might have some depression or something. Do you really want to go to management here and ever tell them anything, thinking they're going to rat me out at some point?
Well, there's another way to look at it. They gave Ty a lot of chances. They did talk to him and try to help him. So when I say that there's a way to play this so that you don't look bad around the league, Josh could have said, look, we have great empathy for our guys.
I think you're missing what I'm saying, though. Forget about
we want to help our guys.
Lawson is gone.
Yeah.
Lawson's gone. I'm X.
Yeah.
I'm Woody Paige, and I'm playing for the point guard for the Nuggets. And I go, I'm really suffering from depression. Okay, we'll help you with that. We'll help you with that. Then a year later, they trade me to Houston.
Yeah.
And they come out and go, well, he had depression, and we try to help him.
You're afraid of what they're going to say about you when you're gone.
If I'm a player here, you're right to say players go, I don't want to come there. If I'm here, I'm drafted by them, or I'm a player for them, I don't want to tell them anything. I don't want them to rat me out later. I don't want them to throw me in the bus. I think that was the worst thing of all this. There's AA. You're familiar with that. One of the things
wait a second. When you say that, it makes it sound like I go to the meetings.
No, you're familiar with Alcoholics Anonymous.
I know what it is.
Yeah, Alcoholics Anonymous. And the key word there is anonymous. That you're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about it in the family. You're not supposed to. I was told once when I was going to write about a guy having been in AA that I'd be very careful about doing that without knowing for sure. And I backed off because, respect a little bit of the privacy there. You can say a person is a drinker, but you don't want to say attends AA. I just think I don't think Josh thought this out, and I'm going to tell him in person. If I'm a player for him, from now on, I'm never going to him when I have a problem. I'm not going to go in and say, I'm getting a divorce. I'm suffering from depression. I have a bit of an alcohol problem. I'm not going to the Nuggets. I'm not saying, you're right.
But Wood, for years they tried to help him. For years they tried to help him.
All right, let him go. But don't bring it out, because if I'm a player, I know they're going to rat me out someday.
I hear you.